All right, guys, I know I said I wasn't going to review stuff for like a week, but I watched some films and I feel like they are right for the channel, so let's get into them. Now, this movie is called 68 Kill. I think that a more apt title would have been Crazy Ass Women. But this movie is written and directed by Trent Haga, I think is how you say it. I don't know, but he has directed another film called Chop, which I enjoyed. It wasn't great. This one I thought was fucking great. It reminded me of another movie that came out in 2017 called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore with Elijah Wood. That was freaking great. And I actually think I like this one a little bit better. So if you really like that one, this one's a little more violent. It's a little, more twisted than that one. But the director of this movie, he also plays Killjoy in the later Killjoy installments. Which, if you've seen the first Killjoy or the second Killjoy, and you were like, what is this garbage? I agree with you completely. The first and second Killjoys to me are dreadful. But Killjoy 3 through 5 are actually really, really fun. Really, really good. I wish that they could detach 1 and 2. I wish that 3 and 5 through 5 were its own thing. Like, I wish that was its own series. I wish they would have retitled it or something, because they deserve so much more than they get. Like, because they're attached to the Killjoy series, I think a lot of people who saw the first or the second, because a lot of times you don't want to watch things out of order. I definitely don't. So if I saw there was a 3, a 4, or 5, whatever, I would want to watch 1 through. And I would beg people to just completely ignore the first 2 and just to watch 3 through 5, because I think that makes a really cool trilogy. It's a very underappreciated trilogy because of the first awful installments. But anyway, let's not talk about that series. I just wanted to give that more credit than it gets. I don't know if I'll ever review those, because I do not want to watch 1 and 2 again. Maybe I'll just do 3 through 5. God, the first 2 are awful. Now, this movie stars Annalyn McCord. Now, if you're a fan of Excision and you loved her character in that and whatnot, you're probably going to fully enjoy this movie. If you're a fan of Excision and you're a fan of I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, this is like the perfect marriage of those films together. It's got the more twisted grossness to it, and a lot of really fun dialogue, like in I Don't Feel at Home. So I just thought this was fantastic. It's one of my favorite films I've seen in a while now. So I'm very, very, very happy to come back and tell you I found yet another great film because of my buddy Travis, who turned me on to it. Now, I think another thing that maybe panders to me and is a reason why I enjoy this film, maybe more than some will, is because I have dated a lot of crazy girls in my life, and that's my own fault. I'm not blaming anybody else but myself. But there's a lot of things that happen in this that I can relate to. Now, this is way blown out of proportion. It's a film, it should be, but you can let women take you into terrible situations just because you want to be with them, and I get that. Now, he lets her take him way too far, but it's a film. That's what it's there for. The dialogue in this movie is probably what won me over. That's what I loved about it the most. It's so in your face, and it's so ballsy, and there's a lot of good twists throughout the movie that work very well for me. And the film doesn't worry about what the audience is thinking. It's just says what it wants, and it can be gross, and it can be I love that kind of stuff, and these are the kinds of films that I'm always looking for. But yeah, Annalyn's character in this movie gives a whole new meaning to a crazy ass girlfriend. And she's not the only crazy chick in this movie. There's a few of them. And the encounters that this guy goes through. Now, the only complaints that I've really heard is that they don't like how, you know, this guy seems to just be such a pushover. And I can understand that to a point, but I think that's the point of the movie, is this guy kind of in taking back his masculinity throughout the film, taking back his manliness and whatever. He's yes, he is a pushover, but he has to go through all this crazy shit to overcome it, and that's why I like his journey. Yeah, it's, I feel like a film like this it kind of falls in between a B movie and whatever you want to call like A movie. I never know what that is. Like, is a B movie a B movie, and then the next one up is an A movie, like, you know, Seven, or you know, the well done movies. I guess that's an A movie. So somewhere in between those two, where the dialogue is not really catering to many audiences, and the acting is just slightly off here and there, to where I can't be like, oh yeah, this is a super well-made movie that should be winning Oscars or like being taken seriously. But I don't feel like it's anywhere near as like cheesy as like these B movies that I talk about as well. So it kind of exists in that middle gray area between the two. It's kind of got a marriage of both. So anyway, absolutely check this out. It's very R-rated, like it should be, and I very much look forward to your thoughts on it, because this is one of those movies that I just don't feel like it's going to get enough attention, and I hope I can shed some light on it. If you want to know what it's about, it is about a guy who is dating this girl, Annalynne's character, and she is having sex for money from this dude. She finds out that he has $68,000 in his safe, and she wants to rob him. And she talks her boyfriend into doing it, and she promises him that everything's going to be fine, everything will go right, no one's going to get hurt, and I'm sure you can figure out at least a little bit of what is going to happen, although I don't think you're going to be able to predict a few things that happen in this movie for sure. Anyway, guys, if you watch this, let me know. All right, guys.